Mangwanani Malelepo Fukenjani Clay Class Vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa. Good morning. In today's show, DR Congo and Rwanda have signed a peace agreement to end their ongoing conflict, while tensions rise in Tanzania as opposition leader Tundu Lissu faces treason charges. We'll also take a look at the devastating impact of war on Sudan's cultural heritage, Pope Francis's heartfelt funeral in Rome, and Zambia's economy making strides with promising growth projections, and including other stories from Zambia delivered by Mike Sichula that will be in the Zambia report. Join us on DSTV 205, GoTV25, OneUp2.com, and Network Media Hub on YouTube. This is Africa Good Morning, your portal into all the latest stories stemming from the African continent with Ashwin Betty. All right, you're with Africa Good Morning. Let's get into the first of our stories. Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo have signed an agreement to respect each other's sovereignty and come up with a draft peace deal by 2 May. The deal was signed by the two countries' foreign ministers in Washington, with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio also present at Friday's ceremony. Hundreds of thousands of civilians have been displaced in recent months as Rwanda-backed M23 rebels have seized swaths of mineral-rich territory in eastern DR Congo. After losing territory, the government in Kinshasa turned to the U.S. for help in exchange for access to minerals. Relations have been so poor between DR Congo and Rwanda that the meeting in Washington and a promise to resolve disputes through dialogue is a sign of progress. Now, the text of the agreement says both sides now expect significant investments facilitated by the U.S. government and private sector. Despite the talks, fighting reportedly continued on Friday in North Kivu province. Let's move on to our next story. Tensions mount in Tanzania before opposition leader Lissu's trial. Political tensions escalated in Tanzania ahead of opposition leader Tundu Lissu's treason trial following his arrest on 9 April after a rally and the disqualification of his Chadema party from October's presidential election. Now, Lissu, accused of publishing false information and treason, charges that could carry the death penalty, was moved overnight to Dar es Salaam, where police used tear gas to disperse supporters during his arrest. Now, the disqualification of Chadema from the 2025 election after it refused to sign the Election Code of Ethics over unmet reform demands drew sharp criticism from human rights groups like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch, highlighting growing repression of opposition voices in Tanzania. The Sudan National Museum, once a proud showcase of ancient Nubian artifacts and Christian wall paintings, has been left shattered by 2 years of conflict as the Sudanese military reasserts control over Khartoum after driving out the Rapid Support Forces. Tens of thousands of priceless artifacts were either destroyed or looted during the RSF's occupation, with officials accusing them of selling stolen treasures, possibly even to the UAE, although no direct evidence was provided. The museum, previously undergoing rehabilitation, was found riddled with bullet shells, shattered glass, and traces of rampant looting, including the disappearance of priceless gold items like a collar from Kim Talaka Amani's pyramid. UNESCO had already warned of threats to Sudan's cultural heritage, and Sudanese authorities now face the daunting task of recovering the stolen history. Observers, including think tanks, argue that the destruction represents a deliberate attack on Sudan's identity, with 13 million displaced and 150,000 killed since fighting erupted. Over the weekend, Rome became the center of global mourning as tens of thousands gathered to bid farewell to Pope Francis, who passed away at the age of 88 after suffering a stroke. His funeral drew a massive turnout, with around 250,000 mourners attending the ceremony at St. Peter's Square before his body was moved from private burial at the Basilica of St. Mary Major, in keeping with his wishes for a humble and simple farewell. World leaders, including U.S. President Donald Trump, French President Emmanuel Macron, Argentine President Javier Milei, and royalty from across Europe, were among 164 official delegations present. Despite the high-profile guests, it was the poor, migrants, prisoners, and marginalized communities, those closest to his heart, who welcomed his coffin into the church for final prayers. Security was tight across the city, with more than 4,000 officers deployed, fighter jets on standby, and a naval ship stationed offshore, as up to 300,000 people lined the streets to pay their last respects. As cardinals began gathering to prepare for the conclave to elect his successor, the Vatican emphasized that Pope Francis's legacy would remain one of humility, compassion, and a commitment to church deeply connected to ordinary people. Those have been our top stories on Africa Good Morning. Shortly, we'll be joined by Mike Sichula as we delve into the Zambia report. But first, the weather. It's now time for us to cross over to Zambia and talk to Mike Sichula about the stories stemming from that nation. Mike Buribanji.
Tiribwino Mulibwanji, Africa, good morning to everyone. Today in Zambia, we are observing the KK Day because it was declared a public holiday.
Yes, indeed, indeed. All right, Mike, we begin on a rather sad note. A 10-month-old baby has died in a stampede at a political rally.
Yeah, quite a sad story. It is not a story that you expect to happen every day. But however, this last Friday, a 10-month-old baby was trampled upon after a stampede in Livingstone, the tourist capital. So this happened after the governing party held their mobilization rally. And during that event, the mayor of Livingstone did flash out new kwacha 10 kwacha notes, 10 kwacha notes to the crowd that had gathered to do their mobilization as a political party. However, one of the attendees who had the 10 months old baby boy on her back, unfortunately, also as she tried to just to get one of those 10 kwacha notes that were flashed by the mayor, the baby from her back uh, came down and she couldn't manage to get hold of the baby as a crowd of people stumbled upon the baby. And in the process, the baby was picked up by one of the attendees who was there, but it was rather too late when they rushed the baby to the hospital. The baby was still alive, but the injuries that he succumbed to were too serious such that he passed on. Then in the aftermath, just within moments when the baby was discovered, the people who were there threw their anger on the vehicle of the mayor because they believed she was the one who caused this accident by throwing money to the crowd. And they descended on a car, damaged the car. The mayor had to escape in order to survive the onslaught that was coming from angry people who gathered to attend the rally. Quite a very unfortunate story there.
Truly sad story there, Mike. Now we move on to some positive news. The IMF projects that Zambia's economy is set to grow by 6.2% this year.
Quite some good economic indicators there that the Zambian economy is expected to grow by 6.2%. This year, despite Zambia facing the effects of the drought, increased road shedding, coming away from the aspect of the COVID-19, the economy still grew at 4.4%. So the IMF has also further projected that the country's economy will further grow by 6.8% next year. So this is according to the IMF global growth projections on sub-Saharan Africa. Zambia is one of those countries among 10 sub-Saharan countries that are expected to record positive growth. Others include Guinea, Rwanda, and Senegal that will grow a positive economic outlook. So last year, Zambia's economy grew by 4%, showing resilience despite the shrinking electricity supply and the creeping drought situation which affected economic sectors. And a number of local economists have commented to this development, further urging the government to ensure that as this increase confidence amongst international investors, they must ensure that once investors come into the country, they partner with local investors so that the foreign direct investment that comes to the country should not also be externalized, but it should remain within the local economy so that there must be transfer of economic knowledge, investment to local investors so that the country becomes more resilient. In the event that foreign investors run away from Zambia, Zambian local investors will still remain and continue to do their businesses.
All right, Mike, sticking with economic ambition, the government has set an ambitious target to reach 10 million metric tons of maize production by 2027.
Yeah, so this is the development that the new Dawn administration has set because maize is a staple food. And with increased economic activities like farming, pig farming, chicken farming, the demand for maize has also been going up. And also the local manufacturing of cornflakes from maize, the demand has just kept skyrocketing. And the government has seen to it that in the event, in order to meet the demand, there is need for the Ministry of Agriculture to ensure that they do soil testing because it's crucial in the agricultural sector. So Minister of Agriculture, Ruben Mutoro, says the government has intensified a countrywide soil analysis campaign aimed at promoting soil analysis, aimed at promoting proper lime application, boosting growth of agricultural produce. So this initiative comes in response to growing concerns over declining soil fertility in various parts of the country. So Mr. Mutolo has emphasized that soil acidity has become a major setback to agricultural productivity, especially in areas where lime application has not been utilized. So it is hopeful that once this is done, then Zambia's agricultural productivity is going to increase.
Now, Mike, both of Zambia's under-17 national football teams, the boys and the girls, have qualified for the FIFA World Cup.
Yeah, something that is very historical in Zambian football, and this was concluded by the Carlo Kanyemba's under-17 girls team that secured their place at the 2025 FIFA under-17 World Cup, qualifying for their second consecutive time after defeating Mali 4-1 in the second leg to complete a 6-2 aggregate triumph. So the World Cup will kick off in Morocco from 17th October to 8th November 2025. So Carlo Kanyemba becomes the first Zambian coach to qualify a national team for back-to-back FIFA World Cup tournaments at any age level, doing so with Zambia under-17 team. So it is also the first time that Zambia, like you said, uh, to both teams, under 17 and under 17 boys, girls, have qualified for their respective FIFA World Cups in the same year. It is something that has been excited a number of soccer fans. The FA president, Mr. Andrew Kamanga, has commended the technical team for ensuring that the team qualified because in their first encounter at Levi Manawasa Stadium, the team picked up a 2-1 victory, and it was the bookmakers did not predict that Zambia was going to overcome Benin because Benin looked to be a better side. But when the girls played Benin in Rome, they showed more resilience and they came blazing, scoring four goals and allowing one goal. So in all their matches, they have scored uh, 10, 10 goals and they conceded twice. So it is something that has excited soccer fans.
All right, certainly something to be proud of, Mike. Now, more to be proud of, Zambia was ranked the second most beautiful country in the world behind Greece. Tell us about this.
So yeah, this is quite some exciting news for the tourism industry. According to Architecture Digest, Zambia was ranked the second most beautiful country behind Greece with stunning destinations. So this comes as a plus to the Ministry of Tourism that has set a target of attracting close to 3 million foreign tourists every year. So in the same breath, in order for tourists when they come to Zambia, they should see more tourist attractions. The government of Zambia has partnered with a Chinese firm to develop a hotel at Chunyunyu Hot Spring Heritage Site in Lufusa district within Lusaka. So the partnership will see the establishment of a hotel and other facilities at valued at over 3 million kwacha. So this was revealed to members of the public by the Lusaka Province Minister Sheo Murata, who graced the groundbreaking ceremony for the project. So this is one of the local tourism sites, the Chunyunyu Hot Springs, where water throughout the year, you find water coming from the ground that is so hot, you can boil an egg uh, and it will be boiled and you can eat it. But this has remained underdeveloped. So in order to increase foreign and local domestic tourism, the government has partnered with those Chinese to ensure that they put up modern facilities so that as people go to visit the site, they can also find accommodation. So also this comes as a plus considering that these recognitions by international organizations, they add value because the international platforms are seen world over and people would want to come to Zambia to say, let's go and see why Zambia was ranked the most second beautiful country in the world behind Greece. So there's a number of development that has happened, new hotels, new international airports. So it is a plus to the Ministry of Tourism.
Zambia Kuchalo. Thank you very much, Mike, for bringing us the news stories from the real Africa.
Thank you very much, Africa. Good morning. And I believe many Africans are also joining us to celebrate Kekede, because he was a Pan-Africanist who helped to liberate most of the countries in Southern Africa. Africa, good morning to our dear viewers.
We are together indeed, Ubuntu Abantu. So that has been the Zambia report with Mike Situla. Now last week we reported that Tanzania had imposed a ban on imports from South Africa and Malawi. They have since reversed that decision. That in economic news after the indicators. Tanzania has lifted its short-lived ban on agricultural imports from Malawi and South Africa. This is just days after introducing it in retaliation for similar restrictions imposed by the two countries. The Tanzania Plant Health and Pesticides Authority announced late Friday that the ban was being reversed with immediate effect to allow room for diplomatic dialogue at a ministerial level. Earlier in the week, Tanzania had not only barred agricultural imports from Malawi and South Africa, including staples like maize, flour, rice, ginger, and bananas, but also halted fertilizer exports to Malawi, which heavily relies on Tanzanian fertilizer for its farming sector. With all measures now lifted, officials emphasized that the three countries, as members of the Southern African Development Community, are committed to resolving disputes through cooperation. Now, South Africa's Minister for International Relations, Ronald Lamola, welcomed Tanzania's move, highlighting it as a testament to the strength of their bilateral ties and the effectiveness of diplomatic negotiation. The swift resolution was prompted by separate outreach efforts from both Malawi and South Africa, underscoring a shared priority of maintaining stable trade relations in the region. We're going to take a quick break before we return to say goodbye. DSTV 285, GoTV 25, OneUp2.com, and NTV Africa on YouTube is precisely where you can find us. Tomorrow, Africa Good Morning zones in on Zimbabwe, as well as other top stories stemming from the African continent. From me, Ashwin Berry, and the Africa Good Morning team, Sudhasha Kanaka.